Understood. So, for how many marks is this Duolingo English test is? For what is the total marks?
So the Duolingo English test is scored on a scale from 10 to 160 in increments of 5. The way that the test is AI scored.
Yeah.
And so for each type of question, there are some very specialized statistical processes that have been devised to calculate the scores. Because the overall score is actually a calculation that's derived from a distribution of the weightage across these different question types. And it's an AI calculated score that we get at the end.
So, as you mentioned, it's from 10 to 160. So, there is no specific marks, like for example, this reading question is going to come for 5 marks and I have to attend this for 5 marks?
No, there's no specific marks for each question type.
Okay.
All I can tell you about the way they are scored is that there's a distribution of weightage for the scores across the different question types.
Okay.
And these are, if anyone's really interested in reading about this, we do have this information available on the website. It's just very technical information.
Yes, I understand.
It's
but
available
at least a bite of the technicality, if you can share it here, it will be very interesting.
The AI is trained on different kinds of statistical processes for different question types. So it's not even like there's the same process that's used to score all the different question types.
Yes, I understood. So the AI specifically for every exam I attend, it specifically changes the marks and the questions as well according to the person taking the test.
We have a total of 14 question types on the test.
Okay.
That doesn't change. You will always have, this read and select question will always be there on the test. Fill in the blanks will always be there. You will always have interactive listening, which was that conversation type question. That doesn't change. But the content of each question type changes for every single test taker.
Okay.
So one of the features of adaptive testing is that it needs a really large pool of questions.
Okay.
Because it has to keep adapting the question to your performance, right?
Yes.
So this way, what it ensures is that every single test taker has a unique test experience because no questions are ever repeated on the test.
Okay.
So every test taker has a unique experience.
If I take once the Duolingo English test and if I take it another time, then it will be another different experience for me.
Yes.
To attend the test itself.
I won't say it will be a different experience for attending the test. You will still take it, it will still last an hour.
Yeah.
The sequence of questions doesn't change.
Yes.
It will always start with read and select, for example. But the words that you get for read and select will change each time that you take the test.
So, what is the highest score ever you recorded in Duolingo English Test since its inception?
The highest score possible on the test is 160. It goes from 10 to 160. And I don't have exact numbers for you, but I can tell you that it's very easily possible to get a 160.
Okay. I
know several test takers. I myself have got a 160 on the test when I took it. So it's very possible to get a 160 on the test.
Interesting. Just to add on that, what are the different subscores which will be coming in my score report?
You will get a total of 8 subscores on your test report.
Okay.
So you have 4 individual and 4 integrated subscores.
Okay.
The 4 individual subscores are reading, writing, listening, and speaking.
Okay.
And the 4 integrated subscores are conversation, comprehension, literacy, and production.
Okay.
Now, the overall score on the test report is an average of the 4 individual subscores.
It's not summing up, it's an average.
It's an average of the 4 individual subscores. So the subscores are also reported on a scale from 10 to 160.
Okay.
So yes, of course, a university then gets to look at your report and see which of your skills are your strongest skills.
Yes.
And what it allows you as a test taker to do is to evaluate which skill you need to focus on most from a test prep perspective.
Okay. To add on one more thing, as you said, the score report which I get after 48 hours has individual scores as well. So, does that really matter do universities see that this individual section has to have some above 50 marks score or above 45 marks score? Does the individual scores really matter, or it's overall score which they look into?
I'll tell you how these individual scores matter. So for a university admissions office, what these individual, so we have two kinds of subscores on the test report. One is these individual subscores. So you get a subscore for reading, writing, listening, and speaking. You also get a subscore for your integrated skills. So we have conversation, production, comprehension, and literacy, which are combinations of two skills. So for example, production is a combination of your speaking and writing ability. So you get a score for that combined. And the way this information helps university admissions offices is that in multiple ways, really. One is it allows them to see that this test taker is a real live person, not just a name and number, right? Because they get the I don't think I mentioned this. The university, along with the result, gets the speaking and writing sample, which means they get to see an example of the student answering a speaking question.
The test score.
So not only the test score, but they also get these videos they get a speaking video to watch the test taker answering a question.
That's interesting, actually.
They get to read a little essay that the student has written on the test. And all of this information together lets them see that this is a real live person, not just a name and number. And B, it also lets them see how students use individual skills and also how they apply multiple skills together. So this kind of combining the subscores allows them to see the test taker's real world as well as academic English language abilities. So just more insight into how they speak and write.
Yes. The universities generally see the total score, or does really the subscores matter a lot?
It does matter. In this, different admissions offices have different requirements. Just to give you an example, there are some programs for communications that would like to see a breakdown of the test taker score on individual skills and on integrated skills. They feel it helps them decide what the students' actual abilities are when they can see them in multiple formats this way.
So, but when I email or when I ask the university what is the minimum marks I have to score for the university for Duolingo test, will they give the subscores limit as well, or they will give only the overall total score which I have to achieve?
You can write and ask them if they have. Not all universities have them, so you can ask whether your particular universities require a specific subscore. We find that there are universities that use these scores in different ways to make their decisions. So it's a thing they would have to check from department to department, really.
Yes, because just in case, for example, my score level meets the university requirement, but the subscore doesn't meet. So before sending to the university, I can retake the test and achieve that required score and then send it to the university so that admission doesn't get rejected.
Absolutely.
So universities do give, if we ask that, is there any subscore requirement you have?
You can write and ask them specifically to share that information with you.
Understood. And to add on, as you said, videos are getting shared. This is another opportunity to get well dressed for the exam, I guess.
Yes. So, the last two questions on the test are what we call a speaking and writing sample. And they're called samples for this reason, because they allow the university to have a sample of your speaking and writing ability. So they get to watch a video, 1 to 3 minute recording of you answering a speaking question. And they get to read an answer that you have written in response to a writing question. So that's what these samples do. And of course, they contribute to the overall score as well. But really, they let the university see who you are.
This was very interesting, actually. You can get a bite of the student before the admission itself so that you can analyze.
I would say, though, because this is something that happens with this test, please be aware that someone is going to watch you. Don't take this test in your pajamas.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Should get well dressed because the university which you are going to is watching your video now. For example, I have attended the test and I have given my answers. So how are the answers evaluated? Is there any manual scoring done, or answers are also evaluated using AI? And as this video is brought to you by VmapU, your trusted partner in realizing overseas dreams since 2009. With expert counseling, personalized guidance, visa assistance and more. They have helped around 1.5 lakh students achieve their international dreams. Whether it's pursuing MS in USA, MBA in UK or in any other country. Contact VmapU by clicking on the link below. Register yourself by entering name, email ID and phone number, and they will call you back within 24 hours to guide and turn your aspirations into reality. And VmapU also offers free SOP maker, free LOR maker and free university shortlisting tool as well. Make sure to explore these. Thank you.